Yeah, we are back, baby. Too many men in the huddle with Cheech.
And Shea,
Yo, Shay, this is my favorite segment. I love doing week picks. We're at week 8 of the NFL season. I can't believe we're already halfway done, man.
it's crazy. It's gone fast, huh?
It's so depressing, man. As soon as football ends, I swear it's like the Great Depression all over again. But
Huh.
we're we're going to start, Shay. We have the October 29th game at 8:20 p.m. Thursday night football. The 1-6 Atlanta Falcons at the 3-4 Carolina Panthers division game. Carolina is at a 2-point favorite as it stands with the over under at 51.5. What do you got for me, bud?
McCaffrey is getting activated today. It doesn't mean he's going to play. So there is that going into it. Atlanta is transitioning. They just, they fired their GM, their head coach. We talked about that a few times. Um, who knows where they're going? I thought they were going to pull off two in a row. They didn't. I think Carolina has been really sneaky. It is just on the outside of that last wild card spot. To me, Matt Rule, Teddy Bridgewater, that offense looks really good. Not a lot of people are talking about Robbie Anderson, another ex Adam Gase player now. He's been awesome down there. Him and DJ Moore getting it done. I have Carolina winning 34 to 28. So they cover the spread. I don't think they're too far off on that, but yeah, they're just the better team to me. They seem more invested. Atlanta just seems like they're going through emotions, going through their season. Carolina wants to be there. So that's enough for me that they're going to win. What do you think?
So you got Carolina and the over. So just for reference, since 2015, the Falcons are actually 8-2 against the Panthers, and one of the two losses was in Carolina. The other one was in Atlanta. The Falcons lost by one at home in a complete heartbreaker against the Lions last week. And in the NFL season, I mentioned this last week, Shay. This season in particular, it's really about the spot that the team is in. Um, I just think this is a great spot for Atlanta, and here's why. After losing a heartbreaker, and if Gurley doesn't go in the end zone and he takes the knee or he falls flat a couple yards short, Atlanta wins that game. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I think that they're pissed off and they're going to go into Carolina in a pissy mood and win. I don't know. I just have a feeling about it. Getting points, 2 points with a good quarterback on the road, I'm all for. So I have Atlanta winning 31 to 24, to be honest with you. November 1st, we're heading into November 1st, 1 p.m. The 2-4 New England Patriots are at the 5-2 Buffalo Bills. Buffalo hosts as a 3.5 point favorite. The over under is a very low 42.5 for these two teams. Shay, why don't you start it off?
So we just recently took New England off our teams that we think are going to sneak in the playoffs, maybe even win the division. Cam Newton has not looked the same since that COVID case, and their offense has been atrocious. Their defense is holding them up. That 42-point total you're talking about, I believe it in this game. With these two
I
teams,
agree.
I don't think the Bills are really playing that well right now in offense either. They started off hot, but they've kind of teetered a little bit. I still think Belichick is the best coach in the league, but I also think McDermott is a top 10 coach in the league and a rising star. And Buffalo has more talent. I think Buffalo, for the first time in a long time, gets it done against New England. They had a chance at the end of last season to beat them in New England, and they were playing really well, but then the Patriots pulled it out. I think this is Buffalo's statement that they are the team to beat in the division. And honestly, they can put some serious distance this week between them and second and third place and just cruise to the end of the season. I think Buffalo wins this game 20 to 13.
Wow. All right, so that's definitely the under. I agree. This is my Super Bowl pick, so I have to agree. To a certain extent, though. Uh, if you notice Cam Newton's completion percentage to Josh Allen's completion percentage, it's identical. They're both at 67%, which is kind of crazy to figure because Cam Newton has 2 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Cam is not doing well at all. And again, I know I keep talking about it. It's the spot for New England. They got blown out 2 straight weeks. Now they're on the road against a division rival in Buffalo, who's definitely going to take the division. I think that New England covers this game. I think it's a lot closer than what people think. Everyone is looking at last week. Patriots get blown out. Bills, they win. Okay, I'm taking the Bills. I am taking the Bills. I think it's a very close game. I'm going to say 17-14 Buffalo. They don't cover. I think New England covers. Buffalo, like we talked about it on our last show, Buffalo really doesn't have a solid running back in Singletary. And to put up points, they're relying too much on Josh Allen. So I think that that's going to kind of bite them going forward unless they upgrade their running back. And I think Buffalo still wins, but it's very close. 17-14 Buffalo. Next game, the 5-1 Tennessee Titans are at the 1-5-1 Cincinnati Bengals. Tennessee is a 6-point favorite. The over-under is 54.5. This was just like last week when a 5-1 team was at a 1-5 team that was the Packers versus the Texans. But that spread closed at 2.5. I think Vegas kind of figured it out. This game is already at 6. Shea, what do you got for us?
So Tennessee is one of those teams that plays every game close. Their style lends themselves to that, and Cincinnati's pretty scrappy. So I think this game's going to be a lot closer than people believe it's going to be. I actually have Tennessee winning this game 27-23. So Cincy would cover in that situation, but Tennessee is still going to win the game. Tennessee, we talked about it in our last show, is one of the 4 best teams in the league. Cincinnati is rising, and they are in a lot of these games. Cincinnati could easily have like 2 more wins. But I think the same thing happens again. They play well, but the better team beats them. I have Tennessee. What are your thoughts on this game?
I love those points because I was going to say the exact same thing, Shay. That's great. Yes, Tennessee. Tennessee is 5-1. Easily could be switched around. They could be 1-5, but Vrabel and that coaching staff is just fantastic. So they know how to win those close games. So, and the Bengals are just the opposite because they're rebuilding. They'll be good within a couple of years, but those close games that the Bengals have, they don't know how to pull them off. They lost to the Colts by 1 possession, which is a playoff team as of right now. They lost to the Browns twice by 1 possession, which is a playoff team right now. So the Bengals know how to keep it close against good teams too, which kind of screams to me to take the Bengals in the points, which I 100% am behind. You bring up a great point with that. Tannehill, a silent MVP. I guess he's playing at an MVP level, right? 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, nearly a 70% completion percentage. Burrow, he's posing as rookie of the year so far to me, according to my standards. I love what he's doing. 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 67% completion percentage. He's throwing for nearly 300 yards a game, 290 a game. I think the Bengals keep it very close, and they're at home. I see somewhat of a 27-24 game. The Titans win, but the Bengals do cover. Next, the 3-3 Raiders at the 5-2 Browns. Cleveland is a 3-point favorite at home with the over-under at 51.5. Now, this is a game that I'm kind of excited about because both have playoff aspirations. So what do you have for us, Shay?
This game's going to be close. I think you need to throw out their records. I think these teams are almost identical and like extremely close. I give the edge. The Raiders are kind of sliding the last few weeks a little bit. And the Browns have kind of been like when they play a good team, they get destroyed. When they play an equal team or a team below them, they win. This is a team that I think is equal, so I think they win this game. I have this game ridiculously close. 24-23 is my total for this game. I think it's a toss up, and I think my score really shows that. But I've told you I like what the Browns' offensive scheme is like set up to do, and their defense is starting to pick it up a little bit more. And then I say that, and then the Bengals scored all those points on them last week. But I think they're just slightly better than the Raiders. Mayfield, Carr, they're like in the same grouping of quarterbacks, honestly. I know Carr has been playing well this year, But Baker played great in the second half last week. I think he had one incompletion. It was a drop. So I have the Browns going to 6-2, winning this game just barely. What do you got?
You again, I feel like you looked at my notes because I have the Browns winning by 1 point too. Exactly what you said. The Browns do just fine against sub 500 to under 500 performing teams. They blow them out. They do well. They score a lot of points on them. I think the only playoff team that the Browns beat so far is the Indianapolis Colts, and that was a nail biter sort of to the end. When it's against the top teams like the Ravens, the Steelers, and those are also division rivals, but they just get blown out of the water. They're not with the big boys yet, you know? As much as I want to say that this is not a statement game, I think it is because this will push Cleveland to 4 games over 500, and it'll push the Raiders kind of outside of the playoff picture in the AFC. I'm with you. I think that Carr is in the level. I think Mayfield and Carr are both in like that bottom second, high third tier sort of quarterback rankings. Even though Carr is playing at a very high level this year, he has a 72% completion percentage, which is for the best in the league. And Mayfield's at 63%. Mayfield had a great game last week outside of the first quarter, best I've ever seen him perform. And I think with the injury with Odell, it's kind of going to help Baker, if that makes any sense, just because it relieves a lot of pressure off of him to not get the ball to Odell. He could distribute it any way that he wants now. That's just my, outlook on it. But I'm with you. I have the Browns winning, the Raiders covering. I'm going to say 28-27. The Browns win. The next 1 o'clock game, the 4-2 Indianapolis Colts are at the 3-3 Detroit Lions. The Colts are actually a 2.5 point road favorite with the over under at 50.5. What do you got, Shea?
Upset, baby. Lions. I think they're going to pull this game out. I think the Colts have everything except quarterback. Philip Rivers is obviously just a placeholder. He's played okay. He actually had probably his best game of the season before the bye. That being said, I think Detroit, these teams are pretty close overall. Like you wouldn't think that looking at it. I think Stafford's the difference. I think the receiving weapons on Detroit is the difference. I think Detroit pulls out another one at home. I think Detroit wins this game 28-21.
Wow. And I have the Lions as well. And here's the difference maker, and you touched on it. It's Stafford versus Rivers. Right now, Stafford's probably the upper tier of the upper second tier, inching its way to the first tier. And Rivers is just bottom 2, 3. I don't believe in Rivers at all, even though, like I keep saying, his completion percentage is second best in the league next to Carr at 70%. But he has 7 touchdowns, 6 picks. I don't think that it's too much to harp on as far as Rivers is concerned. I have no idea why Indianapolis is even a favorite, to be honest with you, in Detroit. Detroit's been playing pretty well, and they're 1 game off from having the same record. I'm assuming it's the Colts defense that's keeping them as that favorite on the road. I think that you're getting value here with Detroit. Even you're getting points at home with the better quarterback. I'd take Detroit all day. I think they actually cruise with this, to be honest with you. 28-13. I'm going to take Detroit. Next game. Here's the biggest spread of the year so far, not even of the week. We have the 0-7 Jets. What a dog shit team that is at the 6-1 Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are a 19.5 point favorite. The over under is 48.5. That tells you that the Jets aren't projected to score shit. This line actually opened up 21.5, so it dropped a couple points. Right now it's at 19.5. What do you got, Shaq?
Well, we talked about this. They didn't come through last week, but my blowout pick of the week is the freaking Bills just field goal them to death. Terrible red zone offense. They still lost. The Jets, I think, were actually up 10-0 in that game. That was like the shocker of the week. Yeah, but they jetted it away as always. Yeah, this is gonna be bad. Like really bad. Like Sam Darnold might want to pretend he's sick or something and just miss the game because I'm going. Whew, 55-13. I think Kansas City is going to destroy them because I don't think it matters. Obviously, I think KC will let up in the second half and run the ball, but their running backs are Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Le'Veon Bell, who's there to get revenge this week.
Yeah,
Oh my God,
that is
this
rough.
is going to be bad. I
Wow.
don't think the Jets, like the Chiefs' defense, is like sneaky, like gets a lot of turnovers. Does the Jets can't overcome that? The Jets need to play a perfect game. If the Jets played a perfect game in this game, they'd still lose by 20.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
so 55-13. We'll go back to this game later. This is like one of my locks of the week.
Wow, that's insane. Wow. I mean, who am I to say that the Chiefs are going to score 55 on the Jets? I mean, last week against a division rival, the Broncos on the road, they scored 43. I mean, they could easily score 55. And just for people who care, I think this is absolutely absurd. The money line on this game is minus 2,500. That means you put $2,500 down on the Chiefs and you only get $100 back. That's how much of a favorite that the Chiefs are. So that's really scary. Uh, Look, Mahomes, 16 touchdowns, one pick on the season. Darnold, he's just in the wrong spot at the wrong time with this Jets organization. 3 touchdowns, 6 picks, 182 yards a game he's throwing for, which is not anything at all, especially against this Chiefs team. They're eighth in points per game, ninth in points against, seventh in yards per game, 10th in pass yards per game. The Jets are 31st, 27th, 31st, and 30th in all those respective categories. Bottom tier versus the upper tier. The Chiefs roll. I think they cover the spread as well, but I don't think the Jets score as many points as you think. I'm going to go 31-6, Kansas City. I just don't see the Jets scoring. Next game, the LA Rams, the 5-2 LA Rams at the 3-3 Miami Dolphins. The Rams are as a 3.5 point favorite. The over under at 45.5. Doodly oop for me. This is one of my upset picks, but why don't you go ahead and start, Shea?
Okay, so this week we have the Rams versus Miami. I have not really liked the Rams that much. Like, I think they're a good team. I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender, though, at least yet. Miami has just been slowly getting better and better. I'm actually surprised they decided to switch to Tua this week. If they were playing Fitzpatrick this week, I probably would have picked Miami. But it being Tua's first start, I do expect him to be a good player as long as he stays healthy. Um, I just think the Rams are in a better spot to win this game. Don't forget that it was Belichick and Flores who shut down the Rams offense in that Super Bowl.
Hmm.
They came up with a plan. That game catapulted Flores into being a head coach for Miami.
Yep.
And I know you can say a lot of things about that, but I actually think Flores is going to be one of the better Belichick disciples to like move on to another team. But this week, I have the Rams win in uh, 24-20. I think it'll be close, but I think the Rams are going to win.
Wow. See, and exactly what I hear what you're saying, and this is what I'm talking about the spots for the NFL teams. It's more relevant this year than any other year that I've seen. This is a great spot for Miami. They blew out the Niners on the road, 43-17. They come home, they blow the Jets out, which we all expected. Then they go into a bye to come home and play a team in the Rams who just came off of a big win against the Bears on Monday Night Football. So the Rams are coming off a short week against a team who's extra rested off of a bye, starting a new quarterback at home. I think this is a beautiful spot for Miami. I think they're going to take care of business, grab 3.5 points for sure. Um, I I'm not saying that the Dolphins are the better team. I think long term the Rams are going to have a better record, probably get to the playoffs and be that better team. I think Goff is extremely underrated. If you have Goff in LA, you should be very happy because you see where non-franchise quarterbacks get you. Look at the Bears. You should be very happy if you have Jared Goff. I think this is just a great spot for Miami getting points at home. I think Miami straight up wins this game 30-24 in Tua's first start. I don't know how many touchdown passes he throws for. And the way I look at it is even if Tua does not do well, they'll put Fitzpatrick in replacement of Tua, and then Fitzpatrick will take the game over. I think Miami is in a win now mode. I think the reason why they put Tua in is to see what Tua could do because they already had a 500 record right now. So I think this is a great spot for Miami, and they win by 7. Next game, I skipped over it. I'm sorry, Shea. The 1-5 shitty Vikings at the 5-1 Green Bay Packers. Green Bay is a dropped a 7-point favorite. The over under is 51.5, and we're gonna lose.
Showing a lot of confidence. There are some bright spots on your team. Jefferson, Thielen being two of the more higher rated receivers. Kirk Cousins. He's just like an above average NFL quarterback. He can win you some games. That he should win. He's going to lose you big games. Your defense, you're already kind of in sell mode. You've traded Ngakwe already away to the Ravens. I think the Packers are the cream of the crop in your division. I have 35-20. Green Bay wins this game pretty easily. I could be shocked because the Vikings actually have played the Packers well over the last few years. Like going back, you go like over the last 10 years, the Vikings always play them pretty tough. But I think this is a spot where Green Bay is just clearly the better team, better quarterback, better coach. They have a lot of their injured players back. I'm not sure if Aaron Jones will be back, but Jamal Williams filled in really well last week. They picked a running back in the second round, Dixon. Like they're ready to go. I don't see this game being over like close, honestly.
I agree 100%. And the reason why I agree even more is because Mike Zimmer off of a bye is under 500. I think he's only won 2 games after a bye since he's been in Minnesota. Not good at getting his team prepped. The Packers, off of a massive road win, come home against a division rival who they already blew out in Minnesota week 1. I think they're going to have no problem here. The only thing with the 7 points as a division game, a lot of division road dogs have been covering this year. And the only thing that I see is Kirk Cousins just getting a backdoor cover because that's exactly what Cousins does. He puts up garbage time stats and garbage time numbers, garbage time touchdown passes, and all that kind of shit. So I see Cousins covering the spread at the very end. Packers will probably be up like 10, 14 points, and Cousins just gets the end of the zone touchdown pass with like 30 seconds left that makes Green Bay not cover. I see a 27-20 game, so it's a push. The Packers win 27-20 in my book. Next game at the 1:00, the last 1:00 game is the 6-0 Pittsburgh Steelers at the 5-1 Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore is actually a 4-point favorite in this division game. The over/under is 45.5. What do you got?
I think Pittsburgh loses their first game. It's going to happen eventually. Okay. I think this is probably the game of the year between Pittsburgh and Baltimore so far, at least. These teams are extremely close. I think Baltimore gives Pittsburgh their first loss of the season, though. I think these are two of the better defenses in the league. I like both offenses. Both coaches have been there a long time. They always play super tight games. I just like Baltimore's offense a little bit more than I like Pittsburgh's offense. And the fact that it's in Baltimore is why I think Baltimore's going to win this game 21-17.
Wow, it's Shea. I think we only disagree on like 2 games so far. I have the Ravens winning as well. If they were not in the same division and the Steelers were on the road, I'd still pick Pittsburgh. I think that these 2 teams, like you said, that it's always a bloodbath. They want each other. They want each other's blood. They want to see blood. They hate each other. I love this rivalry. The only reason why I pick Baltimore is because they're at home. I think, and if you see again the eye test and the stat test, they show you 2 different things. But if you look at the eye test of Ben Roethlisberger's Shea, some of the throws that he has and has made are very suspect. He's still a very good quarterback. It's just I don't know if he's on the decline a little bit. He probably is because of his age and his injury history. But I like the Ravens winning this game. Again, simply because of the fact that they're at home. Defenses match up well. Offenses match up well. I'm looking down the list. Points against, they're 1st and 4th. Yards per game, 15th and 12th. Points per game, 7th and 12th. I mean, they're right there, right next to each other in every category. I'm going to pick the Ravens 24-17. I think that's exactly what you said as well. That's crazy. We have the same score too. On to the 4:00 games. Another game that I love that I can't wait to tell you about my 3-star picks. The 2-4 Chargers are at the 2-4 Broncos, a divisional rivalry where the Chargers are 3-point favorites on the road. The over/under is 44.5. Shea.
I love the Chargers in this spot. People don't realize Justin Herbert and his first few starts is putting up Patrick Mahomes' first start numbers. He is doing amazing. I love their weapons. Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry. I know Eckler's out, but they've replaced his production with Justin Jackson and Kelly. Just Mike Williams is back to throw to. I like them. They are one of those teams that tend to lose close games and games they shouldn't. That goes back to coaching. But overall, I there's just something about Denver. I feel like Denver's like an okay team. They've had some injuries. I feel like their coach Fangio is probably like a good coach, but to me, these teams are pretty close. And when teams are close, I always go with the quarterback. And I think that the Chargers are going to win this game. I have them winning 27-17, actually.
All right. And I hear you. I am disagreeing with you actually because uh, this is a divisional game. And for a divisional opponent to be favorited on the road, it means if the roles were switched and the Chargers were at home, the Chargers would be a 7-point favorite against the Broncos. I don't see that being accurate. I see this being completely different. I think if anything, this should be a pick 'em. Look, the Broncos just got embarrassed at home against Kansas City. I think they're still at home. And the Chargers, Justin Herbert's doing phenomenal. He's putting up numbers like you were saying. That's incredible. He looks like a literally pro quarterback. He's going to be great for the time coming. Every game, I mentioned this on the last podcast, on the last week's picks that we did, week 7 picks. The Chargers have lost 9 out of 11 one-possession games dating back to last year. They only won 2 of them. And when the Chargers are a favorite on the road, they were a favorite twice on the road since last year. They failed miserably. They just get blown out. They do very well as an underdog prospect, but when they're a favorite, they don't do as hot. And we saw that with the Jacksonville game last week. That's why I picked against them. They still ended up covering, no problem. I'm going to pick against them again this week. I think the Broncos win. It's a great spot for Denver. I'm going to go Denver 20-17. We have the 4-2 New Orleans Saints at the 5-2 Chicago Bears. The Bears have a better record. They're at home, but the Saints are still a favorite by 4. Once again, it just shows how much of a fluke the Bears are. The over/under is 43.5. Shea, why don't you take us out? And if you pick the Bears, I'm going to kick your ass.
Okay. So it is November 1st. It is in Chicago. The Saints, I know they've been better in like the past few years in cold weather games. Breeze and Payton have not played well in cold weather games. I think Breeze's numbers are a little deceptive this year. Like they're pretty good, but I don't think if you watch him, he definitely does not have the same arm strength. I think they could definitely struggle in this game. That being said, I still think the Saints are probably one of like the better, like they're at least an upper half team to me at this point. I think they're going to squeak this game out 20-13.
Yeah. You know what? And it's so funny that I just criticized you saying if you take the Bears, I'm going to kick your ass because at the end of the day, I really think I'll take the 4 points. I think the Bears will keep it close. I think the Saints will win by 3. I'll take 4 points at home with the great defense. Again, it's just a spot, Shea. We talk about the spot, man. The Bears just got blown out pretty much on a Monday Night Football game, and now they're coming home. They still have a over 500 record. They're still 5-2, second place in their division. They probably hold the last wild card spot as of right now because they're 5-2. I think it's a good spot for them. The Saints are coming off of a nearly overtime game. The Panthers, I don't know who their kicker is, but is it Gano still? I don't know, but he missed a field goal. And they could have went into overtime against a division opponent and lost. They're coming off of a win, though. So it's just a good spot for the Bears. I like the Bears in the spot. I don't like them to win. I will still take this a very low scoring game, though. I'll take the Saints 23-20. The 49ers, here's the 425 games. The San Francisco 49ers, the 4-3 San Francisco 49ers are at the 5-1 Seattle Seahawks. Seattle is a 3-point favorite at home with the over under at 53.5.
Okay, this is gonna be a high scoring game.
Hmm.
I think just all Seattle's games, Kyle Shanahan as the offensive mastermind on the other side, working with scraps because they've had so many injuries. Like, I don't feel like they've ever had their full offensive arsenal all season. They're starting to get a little bit healthier with Jimmy G and Kittle, but then I think they're onto their third string running back. It's like, I don't know who's in their backfield right now. They literally come in and then they get hurt and then someone else comes in. That being said, his scheme is set up to make anyone look good in the running game. So I really believe that they are going to keep this close. But I still think Seattle is the better team. They have the better quarterback. They have the better outside weapons and Lockett and Metcalf. I think Seattle pulls this game out 35-31. Very high scoring game.
Wow. All right. So you have Seattle covering and winning too, and that's a very high total. I don't know. I don't even know if Seattle's the better team here. I know they have the better quarterback. Their defense sucks. The Niners are banged up everywhere. Who do I really pick in this game? It's a crapshoot to me. Wilson, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 315 pass yards a game. Garoppolo, 7 touchdowns, 4 picks. I know he was hurt. But I'm taking the better quarterback in this situation because no matter how many points Seattle gives up, they only lost one game to the Cardinals, which they should have won if that penalty is never called. So as many points as Seattle's giving up, they're still literally could be 6-0, but they're still 5-1. I'm taking the better quarterback. And I'm taking Seattle to cover 2 in this division game. I'm going to go 24-20. Sunday night game. We have the 2-5 Cowboys, Shea, at your buyers, 2-4-1 Philadelphia Eagles. Philly is a 7-point favorite. And just for reference, the Eagles have 2 wins, a combined 6 points, and they're a 7-point favorite at home against a division rival. What do you got?
First off, never insult me ever again. Don't ever say yours and Eagles in the same sentence. It's fucking disgusting. Okay. But that being said, I do believe they should be buyers. This game on paper would look like it should probably be a close divisional matchup between the 2 NFC least teams. I think the Eagles are going to start pulling away in the next few weeks from the rest of the division. I think the Eagles are going to, we don't even know if Dalton's going to play. So they might have a 7th round rookie quarterback playing.
Dalton's head came off of his shoulders. Did you see that hit?
That was a dirty hit in today's game. I mean, 10 years ago it would have been normal, but who knows if he's going to even play. If they don't have him, it's going to be their 7th round pick quarterback, Ben DiNucci, I think it is. He's from my wife's alma mater, JMU. But that being said, I think the Eagles are going to win this game pretty easily. I have them winning 24-10.
Wow.
I mean, 10 points is more than Dallas scored last week against Washington, and they had Dalton for half the game. So I think they're going to win pretty easily. I don't think Philly's offense is really good enough or healthy enough to really pull away and score a lot of points on anyone. That's the only reason why I don't have this being 30-10 or something, is just for that reason alone. But I think this is going to be a really ugly, slow, methodical game that Philly's going to just start scoring little by little, quarter by quarter, and they're going to end up winning by 14. But I don't think it's ever going to really be close. What are your thoughts?
So yeah, I 100% agree, because the Philadelphia Eagles, even as favorites, they were not able to cover the spread both times that they were a favorite. And what the difference maker here is Ben DiNucci. Honestly, I mean, I just, and you touched on it. If Andy Dalton, which the whole reason why the Cowboys got Andy Dalton was just in case a Dak injury did happen. Dalton is a solid backup, and we all thought with that offense, with Zeke, Gallup, Cooper, CeeDee Lamb. Oh man, they can still put up points. I mean, if you put up how many points did they put up against Washington? If you put up 3 points, you don't even score in the second half. Not even a close game the whole time with Dalton in up until what the third quarter. You score 3 points, you get picked in the end zone. You don't even look like you want to be there. McCarthy, it just looks like a train wreck. This reminds me a lot of Freddie Kitchens in Cleveland last year, as it is McCarthy with the Cowboys this year. It just looks like a mess. It looked like a mess from the start. They're nowhere near where they wanted to be at the beginning of the season. It looks like the Cowboys just have no fight in them. I love the Eagles just pushing away. I'm going to say 30-10, somewhere close to what you were saying as well, Shea. And here we go with the Monday night game, November 2nd at 8:15 p.m. We got the 5-2 Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the 1-6 New York Giants. Tampa Bay is a 10.5-point favorite. The over/under is 45.5. Go ahead.
Don't you love that for the primetime games this week, we have 3 NFC least teams to watch?
Yeah.
Isn't that just amazing?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I will say one thing about the Giants is every game they've played this year so far, they've played competitive, they've played close. A few plays here or there, they easily could be like 5-2 with a commanding lead in this terrible division. But bad teams find ways to lose games. And I think this is probably Pittsburgh is the best team they've played so far. I think Tampa is probably the second best, at least right now. To me, they're the second best team they've played so far. But Pittsburgh, that was the first game of the season. They're in a very different spot than Tampa. I feel like Tampa is like revving up, starting to really get going. And I feel like Pittsburgh was just, they played sloppy. It was the first game of the year. They got kind of surprised by how the Giants played. I do not think this game's going to be very close. I think even with Godwin out, the Giants defense will probably keep them in it for like a half. And then after that, I really think Tampa is going to just pull away. I have Tampa winning this game 37-17.
Wow.
I think it's going to be close. I think maybe like the first half, it might be something like 20-17, and then Tampa's going to just pull away because Tampa is by far the better team. They get to unleash their pass rush against the Giants' terrible offensive line. I feel bad for Daniel Dimes. I feel like he's a lot better than his numbers show. He has no help.
Yeah.
No help. They should have won the Eagle game last week if Evan Ingram could just hold on to a pass, or the defense could not wear down at the end of the game and give up 2 touchdowns the last 2 drives. Like, it's just something. It's every week. I blame most of their problems on the offense because the offense just goes 3 and out, puts the defense back on the field over and over again. I think if they just had an average ball control offense, they would be able to win a lot more of these games. And I think that was probably their original plan before Barkley got hurt this year. So what are your thoughts on this game?
That's crazy. You have the Bucs scoring a lot of points. I hear you. It might be close, and then the Bucs. Okay, look, I know I keep talking about the spots, right? Spots for teams, and this is why I'm picking them to win for this week and last week, and et cetera, et cetera. I don't think that there's a flat spot for the Bucs. I think their flat spot already happened when they played the Bears, and they lost that game in Chicago on Thursday Night Football. But here's the thing with Brady. I don't know if it definitely is. It's Foles that's Brady's kryptonite. And is it the Giants too, or is it just Eli?
It might have been the Giants overall, but I don't know if you know this. None of those defensive players are there anymore.
Yeah.
And the other thing, I think Eli was the kryptonite, but everyone is gone from those teams.
Oh yeah.
They don't have any.
You know,
So
at some points, I even think that it's not even the players; it's just the mindset that a quarterback might get when they play that specific team, regardless of the player, regardless of the situation. I think this will be a little closer than what people think. The Giants' defense is really sneaky. They're top 10 in overall points allowed per game. I don't know. I have a little gut feeling that and it's 10.5. So it could still be a blowout 30-20 victory, and you'll still be winning if you take the 10.5 with the Giants. The Giants have been in a lot of games against Pittsburgh. Daniel Jones gets picked in the end zone. If he doesn't get picked in the end zone, that game is a lot closer than a 10-point loss. Against Chicago, Daniel Jones going down the field. They ended up losing 17-13. Jones could have had a end zone touchdown to win the game. They got blown out against the Niners. Against the Rams, they held it very close. They lost by 8 points. Only gave up 17 against a high-powered offense. Against the Cowboys, which with Dak healthy, a lot of that game, they lost by 3 points. They lost to Philly by a point. They're in all these games. I think the Giants keep it close. They're at home. Tampa Bay, they just blew the Raiders out of the water. I think they're a little fat and happy. They'll come back down to earth a little bit. They'll still win the game. I'm going to go very close though. I'm going to go 31-24. The Bucks win. And let me put it at this. I think Jones is going to have a chance to win the game at the end, and he's going to fumble or something, and then that's how the Giants are going to lose. But
yeah, I think they match up very well at all. This is going to be a blowout. I know my team. Their defense has been surprising, but the offense isn't going to be on the field long enough. Tampa is probably in the best spot of any team that's played them so far. You got to remember they're playing these close games against the Cowboys and Washington and Philly, Steelers' first game of the season, and then they eventually pulled away. Tampa, where they're at right now and when they're playing them, I just don't see it. Expect a lot of fumbles from Jones this week because they're going to get after him a lot. All right, let's do your 3 locks. Let's wrap this up, buddy.
Yeah, man. So our 3-star picks so far in the season. I am 8-3. I was last week was a losing week for me. I had 2 losses, but my lock was the Bears. So that's just for reference. My first game that I absolutely love, the Dolphins at home getting 3.5 points with Tua's first start. We talked about this. I love the Dolphins plus 3.5 at home. Another one, I'm taking Chicago plus 4 at home against the Saints. I think the Saints will still win. Chicago's defense is good enough to keep it close. And you know what? I'm going to take the Broncos plus 3 too. A division game. Every time the Chargers are a favorite on the road, they fall flat. The Broncos just got done getting embarrassed by the Chiefs. I think this is a great spot for the Broncos. So we got the Dolphins with the points, the Broncos with the points, and the Bears with the points. How about you, bud?
Okay, I really like Carolina. I picked them to win by 4. I think they're going to win. They'll recover the 2 points. I like them just overall. The other game I really like, we talked about Tennessee and Cincinnati. I think that game's going to be a lot closer than what you say, 6.5. I still like Tennessee to win that game, but I like Cincinnati to cover. I would have picked KC and the Jets, even though it's a huge point spread. I don't like you have to put down 2,500 to win 100. Don't do that. That's just insanity. And if like the Jets somehow only lose by like 20, that's gonna suck. Do not do that at all. But the other spot, the game that I really like, we disagreed on this game. I like the Chargers to beat the Broncos.
Wow.
Yep, we talked about that. I know it's a division road game. I'm really a believer in Herbert, and I'm going to be just miserable for the next 10 to 15 years that the Giants passed on him to give Jones another shot this year. I mean, I understand they had to, but it's going to suck unless they get Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields next year, or Jones turns it around and actually ends up being like very confident. It's just not looking very good. So those are my 3. I have Carolina against Atlanta, the Tennessee Cincinnati game, and then the Chargers Denver game. Those are my picks, buddy.
Wonderful. Well, that's it. That wraps it up. Week 8, halfway through the NFL season already, guys. But thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, do what you got to do. Until next time. Thanks, guys.